Good evening. I call to order this meeting of the Somerville ZBA. It's February 18th, 2026, meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm your acting chair today, Ann Brockelman. The voting members today, the board are Ann Fullerton, who will be our acting clerk, Olivia Mobaid, Brian Cook, and myself, Ann Brockelman. The City of Somerville staff joining us this evening are Kit Luster, Alvaro Esparza, Lexi Payne, and Kristen Patnode. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation. A video recording of these proceedings will be available on the city website's meetings and events page or by emailing zoningboard@somervillema.gov. So we'll proceed with the agenda tonight. No general business. 12 Linden Street. This case was continued from the February 4th meeting, so we do not need to open it. Kit, will you welcome the applicants? Please raise their hands so staff can promote you as panelists.
This is Kit. I've just promoted Mike Ross and Yang Gi. They should be all set.
And each time you speak, because this is also audio, please state your name and address for the record. Well, especially before beginning your presentation.
Okay.
Welcome. If you'd like to share the screen.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Mike Ross. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Princelow Bell in Boston, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm here with my client, Yang Gi. And, this is not a very big presentation. It's kind of a simple matter. We don't have a lot of materials to share with you, but I wanted to just pull basically what we had just to give you a sense of what's going on here. This is the site plan for 1012 Linden Street. It's a double lot, and it's one of these buildings that it's not uncommon to have parking, a driveway on each side. As you can see here, you have this kind of space for parking on each side. These are actual photos of the building. It was renovated several years ago and converted to condominiums. I wasn't involved in that, but I've since become involved in just this very issue. As you can see, the left and the right very much mirror each other. They both look like driveways. When Mr. Gee bought the property, he actually thought that he had a driveway here. It was a driveway, albeit with a missing curb cut, but I think he thought that, that curb cut was, just overlooked and it needed to be repaired or whatever he thought. He believed he was buying a unit with a parking space and just needed to simply take care of that curb cut matter, only to later find out that it's actually requires variance. It's not uncommon to have, as I mentioned, driveways on either side. This is just right up the street. This is just 35-37 Linden. It's a few houses up from us. You actually have the same exact condition. You have a curb cut on the left side of the building, a curb cut on the right side of the building, and then you have the neighbor's curb cut right there, right next to it. Very similar to what we're proposing. And then, this is known by the condominium association. They support Mr. Gee in getting his curb cut, and that's really it. We're here on a hardship variance. I could go through kind of the legal argument. It was presented in the staff report. Thought the staff did a great job of encapsulating this, and I'll pause there, Madam Chair, and see if there are any questions or comments.
Are there any questions from the board? Olivia Mobaid.
Thank you. I'm curious if the condo unit you purchased came with a deeded space.
It did not, no. I mean, this is a situation where perhaps at the time there could have been discussion and dialogue with the transaction. If we knew now what we knew then. Me as a lawyer, maybe you are a lawyer. I don't know. I mean, these are fair questions, but this was Mr. Gee moved here with his family. They're residents. They love being here in Somerville. They need a car. One of the comments we had with staff when we prepared for this meeting, I forgot to mention it, but you reminded me, is that they would not park within 20 feet of the front yard. They would agree to park within past the 20-foot front yard requirement. And so we actually do show that in the plans as well.
Chair, is it okay if I
Yes.
add a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Is your unit eligible for an on-street parking permit?
I believe so. Yang, do you have any, are you here? Do you know the answer to that question?
I believe so. I haven't looked into that yet.
Okay. I'll just note that the example you showed is a second curb cut that has been in existence for at least 14 years, as long as Street View has existed. As you know, this is a transit zone that was established, I assume, in coordination with the opening of Union Square Station in 2022, which I believe is part of the reason why this would require a variance.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I could just respond, we understand that, we're not here trying to change the underlying zoning. We think that this is a very unique circumstance relating to this property. If this property had green space and if that area was actually clad in grass and bushes, I mean, I think we'd be having a slightly different conversation. It reads like a parking space. I mean, it's kind of a unique aspect to the shape and to the property itself, in that it has this kind of drive aisle there that it's interesting. I haven't seen a lot of things like that. So because of that, we're asking for the variance. There, as the staff report notes, there is no maximum or parking minimums in the UR district here, so it wouldn't violate. I mean, it doesn't have the parking minimum, which would be a policy position for the UR district. And I think that's worth pointing out as well.
Anything else? Olivia, are you good?
If I may, one final question. Do you have the measurement between the two proposed curb cuts in front of the building?
It's very between our two proposed curb cuts.
Correct.
Let me just.
I'm sorry, is it one existing and one proposed? Curb cuts, it would be, one is already there.
Right, sorry. So
Right.
between the existing one on the property and the proposed one. So how much curb length is in between the two?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the proposed 10. The other one is here. I'm looking for a measurement. I think we could probably get there, but I don't have a real clean response for you. I'm looking at this. I mean, it's looking like it's at least 30 feet, if I had to guess. We could probably add up some of these notations here, but I'm sorry, I don't have.
There is a notation below that says 38.3,
Oh, there
but
it is.
it's a little bit
Yeah.
extra. There's a little bit extra on the right
Oh,
side.
yeah, thank you. Yang. You saw what I was looking for. I couldn't find it. So let's call it 36.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have right now.
So if one parking space is 19 feet long, typical, so would be 38, so a little shorter than two standard car lengths. Maybe a car and a compact. Well, you need a turning radius as well to get in, right? Olivia, are you
Yeah, you
wondering how
need
many
two
spots would be
feet per
remaining?
Somerville parking code on either side of a driveway, so that would effectively give you 32 feet of parkable space,
Yeah,
which is
one
essentially
car.
moving it from two on-street parking spaces here to a single on-street parking space.
Yes. I have one question. Currently, Mr. Yangi, how do you get your car there? You go all the way around?
No, there's no way we can get around. We either like uh no, we couldn't go all the way around.
So you're climbing the curb.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You
Thank you.
know, this was for illustrative purposes that we wanted to share this with you. But, even if Mr. Gee winds up selling this unit to someone else, I think this condition it's not going to end. The next group moving in there will probably, I mean, it's really, it needs to be resolved. And, given that the condo association is supporting this application as well, we think the road to least resistance would be that, create the curb, and we think we have a pretty good case for it. But obviously, I'm not sitting where you sit. You guys have to make that determination, not us.
Thank you. We haven't opened the public portion yet. We had stopped for some questions from board members, so I think I'll go ahead and do that, and then we can come back in. How's that? So I'll now open the public comment portion of this hearing. Members of the public, if you'd like to speak on this application, please raise your hand and staff will unmute you. You'll be given 2 minutes, time for your comments. Please state your name and address for the record. Kit, do you see anyone?
This is Kit. I currently do not see anyone with their hand raised. Oh, I see one person with their hand raised. Alvaro, do you mind sharing the timer before I unmute? Okay. I'm going to unmute Courtney Pollack if she could just state their name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Courtney Pollack. I live at 14 Linden Street, so we're the driveway abutter that's in the picture that you all showed just a couple minutes ago. We have no problems with this, so we support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm now going to allow Philip to speak. Oh. I'm sorry, Philip. I unmuted you by accident. Please continue.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Terrific. I'm so sorry. No, I'm the Davis Square resident and Somerville person. Just making sure that this is in fact a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, is it not?
Yes, it is. And
Okay, I came in late. That's the totality of my question. Thank you so much.
we're discussing Linden Street right now.
Got it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
This is Kit. I do not see anyone else with their hand raised.
Okay, I think we'll close the public comment period. I have one question, because the abutter spoke up. Would that just be a continuance of the curb cut from the abutter? If you look at the can we look at the photo again? I mean, you wouldn't have a little sliver of curb.
Yeah, it would be just a continuance. We spoke to one of the transportation staff members to kind of figure that out, and they thought that it wouldn't be appropriate to have an interruption in between the two, so they would just make that continuous.
Other board members want to weigh in discussion? And again, we should discuss the 3 hardship criteria. Brian Cook?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As always, it's criterion B that gives us often the most difficulty, which is what is the financial or other hardship that the applicant faces. If we do accept um, the narrative in terms of criteria A and C, what's the financial hardship or otherwise the hardship from failing to secure um, the relief sought by the applicant?
It would be the loss of the parking space. It would be a financial hardship. Um, Staff weighed in on that piece as well. They say they don't generally comment on the second hardship criteria, but they did want to note that the UR district does not have a maximum number of parking spaces, and that the addition of this curb cut does not pose any parking maximum compliance issues. But for us, it becomes a financial hardship with the loss of parking for the unit.
Brian Cook, further discussion?
Uh, Thank you, Madam Chair. It's unclear to me what that financial hardship is. I mean, he doesn't have the parking space now because he doesn't have access to it, although he parks his car there. So how is no change in the status quo then depriving the applicant of something?
I believe that, look, it's an argument, okay, but I believe that when he purchased this property, he believed, the client believed that he was buying a unit with a parking space. It looked like a parking space. It looked exactly like the other parking space. It's a fair assumption for maybe a board member, non-attorney to make a fair mistake perhaps to make. And so he bought it with that in mind. And now if he's not allowed to use as a parking space, this will be a financial hardship for him in that he will have lost the parking space that he believed he purchased along with the the unit. Again, it's an argument. He has a family, they go shopping, they do the things that people do that, want to move into a condo unit like this with parking. And they will not be able to do that if he's not allowed to park there.
Madam Chair, if I may, just follow-up
Yes.
question. Where is the entrance to the applicant's condominium? Is it from the street front?
Yeah. Would you like to explain that, Yang? I can pull this back up.
Yeah, if you have the photo, it's right in the middle, in the center of the front part of the building.
Okay, so it's just to the left of in the photo of the telephone pole that shows there. I'm sorry, to the right.
There are three doors, so those are three entrances to different units.
Mm.
And like the middle door is the entrance for two units, including us for this condo.
Mhm.
Yours is the middle door. Yeah.
Yeah, ours is the middle door, and left and right belongs to our neighbors on other units. So when we also add to that, when we purchase the unit, uh, the right part of the area we're proposing a curb cut, it belongs to our unit, and the left part, which is a existing driveway and curb cut, belongs to Unit 8. So we were like under the impression that this is balanced and the our unit are the same as the other unit on the left-hand side, except the curb cut is not existing.
So Yang, this is deeded with your unit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is part of our
Okay.
belongs to
Okay.
our unit.
All right, well, that's relevant. I didn't know that. I apologize. So to answer, you know, the previous member's question, it is listed in the deed, this area. Maybe not listed as a parking space, but listed nonetheless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the criteria, I'm reading, it also says substantial hardship, financial or otherwise. Just note that for the record.
Thank you.
Olivia Mobaid.
Thank you. I see your point. I see why there could be confusion here, 100%. Um, I am wondering if you noticed that the curb existed before you purchased the unit, and assumed it could be addressed, or you were not made aware of the fact that the curb existed.
Yeah, we noted that the curb did not exist, but we assumed, like I was informed by both my agent and the seller that it's an easy issue to address, which I didn't realize like it's more complicated than I previously believed.
Okay.
Just a follow up, I guess my commentary here is I recognize that this is an inconvenience, but it is not indicated in any material you reviewed that it was a parking space. And when thinking about not just clause two of the hardship variance, which is, about significant financial hardship for you and inconvenience, it's not that you cannot store your car nearby if you are eligible for an on-street parking space. Many folks do use that. It's very cheap, much cheaper than building this. Um, and there is a loss of on-street parking when considering part three, impact to the neighboring community. Essentially, what it's doing is privatizing an on-street parking space and putting it on your property rather than on the street available for anyone else to use.
I mean, the only thing I would respond to that is that if this is a double lot, as I mentioned, so theoretically, this double lot could be subdivided. It could have, uh, two separate structures, which each could have their own curb cut and driveway alongside of it. So it's not, that very well could have happened, um, where we'd be in the exact same result as where we'd be right now. The other thing, and the chair kind of helped me with that a little bit with her prompt, but the non-financial hardship piece of this is that what does he do if he gets denied today? He has to, he has a problem on his hand. He has to basically, I don't know what he does. I guess he digs up the hardscape and plants it, and it's just this. He's being left with a problem. The easiest solution here is to add the curb cut, rather than to go through the process of reconfiguring the entire landscape of uh, what is not even it's shared property. It may be deeded to him, but he has to work that out with the condo. I'm sure there's rules and regs there. So it would be it's a little bit of a conundrum to leave him there with where we are right now. Something will have to change, and whatever that change is, it might actually bring us right back here to you. Uh, because we might implicate something with, whatever the fix is. It becomes lengthy, it becomes time consuming, and it becomes difficult, for where we are in this, what could be a relatively simple solution.
Thank you. Attorney Mike Ross, when you say double lot, you just mean it's as wide as two lots,
Yeah.
able to be split. It's not there's actually no such thing as a double lot. It's a lot, right?
Yeah, I'm
Double
not
wide.
using any real
Okay.
terminology. It's just a double wide lot. It could be
It
split
could be
and
split.
it could
Yes.
be
It's wide
subdivided.
enough to be split.
Yeah, I
Thank
believe
you.
so. I haven't studied it extensively. It looks to me like it is.
Thank you. I think we've um heard your arguments several times. Just in the in the interest of time, I'd like to continue to listen to the board members, and I will call on you if we'd like a response, because sometimes board members are asking questions for the sake of discussion or rhetorical questions, so you don't need to jump in to respond until they actually seek your answer. Thank you. Ann Fullerton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that I understand Attorney Ross's comments about the fact that this particular owner sees it as a detriment to have a paved area that he can't use for his car. I also think it was pretty clear that it was not an immediate parking spot when purchasing the property, and some other owner may not have cared. They may have put up a fence and had a patio. So I think that you can't claim just because it's pavers that it has to be a driveway. That said, I do think the lot is wide enough to support the addition of the driveway. And I think the way that is drawn, where it's essentially being combined with the neighbor's driveway for the curb cuts makes sense. It limits the amount of actual curb reduction, where potentially two smaller cars could fit in front of it and probably would during a snow emergency. And I think that for this particular owner, I can see the hardship. I think that we take keeping owners in their homes very seriously as part of this board, and trying to make Somerville as livable for everybody as possible. And for this case, I do support it.
Thank you. Does everyone feel that they'd like to respond to Ann, board members, or ready to vote, or should we go 1, 2, 3 with the hardship considerations? Brian Cook?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It would help me to hear how we will articulate the findings with respect to each of the criteria. I mean, we have the narrative from the applicant, we have the staff report, which addresses A and C criteria, essentially repeating the narrative of the applicant, and and the staff also adds they don't see it as they don't see a problem with criterion C. But I'd like to hear either what other board members have to say, or if there's anything that should be added to what we have in the documents in terms of findings that go with the criteria.
Madam Chair, through you, I can take a shot at those first criteria, run through, and we can adjust if that works
Yes,
for you.
please.
Okay, so special circumstances related to soil conditions, shape, or topography of the parcel. The special conditions related to the parcel is that it is a double wide lot with a side-by-side multifamily on it. It does have enough width between the parcel boundary, right-hand boundary, and the side of the building to fit a driveway that is compliant. Criteria 2, literal enforcement, would create a impact to the family. I am not yet convinced of the financial impact, but I do think it impacts the family in the livability of the home, and making the home accessible for the family's use. And criteria 3, the substantial detriment to the public good. without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent of the purpose of the UR district. I believe that that because we're looking at a limited driveway width that is being combined with an already existing curb cut, it will insubstantially impact the neighborhood and reduce the curb parking as minimally as possible.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything to add, board members?
I will just note, if I may, there are multiple other properties in the neighborhood that have a similar setup and do not have a second curb cut. This one is uniquely wide. I will recognize that, but there are similar ones with a similar layout with the amount of space needed on either side of the building, a multifamily. I would also mention that in terms of the second one, there to me is no impact if they are able to park their car within the immediate vicinity of their property in terms of inconvenience, in terms of the value of their condo based on what they had interpreted in terms of having a parking space. That's a different story, but there are many units in this area, right? It's been designated as a transit zone specifically because it has density and walkability and multimodal access, who do not have a car or park on the street. So this does not seem like a unique case for me for the neighborhood.
Thank you. Excuse me, anyone else? Brian Cook?
I'm on, literally on the fence, so to speak. And I've heard strong arguments. So unless, Madam Chair, you have something to add.
I think what Ann Fulton said in the beginning, that the symmetry of the way the house sits, the two-family on the lot, would lead one to assume that the site plan would be symmetrical as well. So to me, it's an anomaly not to have the other side of the driveway have a curb cut. So it seems to be putting right something that looks eccentric in terms of how the building sits, and there's a left right on the building with the site plan. So I'm okay to proceed with granting variance. You will need all four, is that right? For hardship variance, all four votes.
Madam Chair, through you, Mr. Ross, at the moment, the straw poll looks like that's not in your favor.
Well, I guess point of clarification, if I may, is it not a majority of those present that would carry the day?
No, because we only have four today. It would be 4 out of 5.
And
Typically, it would be 4 out of 5. So you'll need all 4 votes today because only 4 are here.
Does he have the option to continue if he wanted to have it be 4 out of 5?
Yes, it's your case. You can continue. You can
Withdraw.
We can Brian Cook, do you feel like we should further discuss it? Not to put you on the spot.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Unless they have some new information or new conception of the curb cut and its approach, I don't think there's anything more we would learn. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with continuing it just to get an additional vote, but our rules don't prohibit it, I don't believe. So, and it is their case, so they may wish to do what they want with it. But were we strictly following Robert's Rules of Orders? I'd call a question, but I'm not going to do that.
I mean, the applicant can do as they wish.
I'm just pulling up your rules. It specifically says four, it says a majority of those present.
Staff, would you like to
This is
confirm,
Kit.
clarify? Yes, Kit.
Let me just pull up our RPP as well. It was my understanding that it was if there was only four that you needed all four to approve a hardship variance, but let me fact check.
I just have the number of members that must vote in favor of a motion for it to pass, the same as the number of members required for a quorum. Voting must be an issue.
Quorum is 4, right, out of 5. We have 4 today.
So
and
Hold
perhaps
on, I'm
I
just
was
doing a fact
negligent,
check.
but typically in my experience, when it's a hardship variance and there are only 4, we start off right off the bat telling the applicant that this is what's needed tonight. So I apologize if that was not done today.
yeah, no, thank you for mentioning that. I guess could I ask you, Madam Chair? I mean, it's the fifth member. Do we know if the fifth member would it be worth my does it make sense for me to wait? If you were me, I mean, I don't know the characteristics of the fifth member. The only thing I could offer, I mean, Member Cook mentioned, like, is there anything other information? We could abide by a 20, the 20-foot requirement. I don't know if that was specifically put into the vote, but it might be appealing to the members to say, and must park within 20 feet back. You wouldn't
Yes,
see that. Yeah.
I did think that too, because often applicants will come in and offer a promise to do the right thing, but it's not, we don't enforce, right? So if you could create something in the condo rules or something,
We could.
you could work on that between now and the next time, so that you're not parking in the front lot.
Yeah, but we could commit to doing that, to adding them to the master deed.
Can I add something to it?
Yes.
Just so from our experience, like practically, uh, with or without this our proposed curb cut, there will be 2 cars parked in the space between the 2 curbs. And the current situation is right now because of like the longer curb area. There are sometimes the additional third car parked behind the second car, which certainly like occlude all our area and partially like the area of 14 Linden Street. So that's just a practical issue that we are facing here.
Thank you. And again, you are parking there right now, right? You're not saying it's Photoshop. In the photo, that's
Yes.
car physically climbed the curb. It's not photoshopped in to show that it fits.
No.
Okay, okay. So you park there anyway, and sometimes you do get blocked because there's no curb cut.
Yes.
Well, applicant and attorney, what would you like to do? We have two more cases tonight, so.
Yeah, understood. It just seems like if I need 4 votes, it doesn't sound like I'm going to get it tonight. Um, notwithstanding, all the thoughtful comments. So I guess we'll continue it to the next meeting and wait for the fifth member. And in between that time, we'll work on some language for our master deed and propose it at the next meeting. And hopefully that will win the day.
That sounds like concrete steps you could take between now and the next meeting. Do you have the date for the next meeting? And
This is Kit. We do have, I believe, the next meeting could be fairly lengthy just due to the case that is confirmed for March 4th. So I would because that case has to go first due to staff from other departments coming to the meeting, I would suggest March 18th, unless the applicant is comfortable understanding that there's a lengthy case before on March 4th.
No, we really appreciate you pointing that out, as you actually did for this meeting too. So thank you for that both times. March 8th, 18th works for us.
Okay, and Kit, I'm sorry if I don't know, but are they supposed to fill out paperwork with you after the fact?
I believe since we're doing this at the meeting, the board needs to make a motion and vote on the continuance.
Okay. Will the acting clerk make a motion?
Sure. I make a motion to continue the case of 12 Linden Street, ZP 25-000112 to the March 18th meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Olivia Mobaid,
Aye.
and myself, Ann Brockelman, aye.
Thank you for your thoughtful conversation tonight.
Continuance is granted. Thank you, and
Thank you.
Thanks.
see you next time.
Okay, have a good night.
Our next case, do we admit applicants first or open it first? Kit, please advise.
You could ask the applicants to raise their hand while the
Okay.
clerk reads it into the record.
Um, Ann Fullerton, would you like to identify the next case?
Sure. I call to order the case of 148 Morrison Avenue, ZP 25-000089. MBA Builders, Andrea Morelli, proposes modifications to an existing non-conforming building in the neighborhood residence, i.e. NR zoning district, which requires a special permit.
So the applicant's team, please raise their hands so everyone, staff can promote you as panelist, and please remember to state your name and address for the record before beginning your presentation. Good evening. Is your whole team here? I see a few names.
I think we are.
Whenever you're ready, introduce yourself, your team, and if you'd like to present, staff will let you share the screen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think everyone else is muted. There we go. There's Leighton.
Yeah, we're the homeowners.
So do you need us to present, or it seemed like you thoroughly knew the project and we read your comments and it seemed like we were, I'll be so bold as to say, in pretty good shape.
I think you've been communicating with staff. This is the ZBA board, so we do get your packet of materials, the week before, but we have
I
not
see.
been in communication with you. It always helps to hear directly from you, summarize the architect and homeowners. So proceed as you like.
Great. Well, I wonder if, Leighton, do you want to maybe say a few words as the homeowner, what your intention is here?
Sure. This is Leighton and Kathy Collis. We're fourth generation Somerville residents. We bought this mansard townhouse, which is not covered by the current building code, and Charles will go into that in more detail. What we wanted to do is figure out how to clean up a corner that's kind of right across the street from the rail trail that has a big three-car garage from a long time ago and a couple of additions from the 80s. And our goal is to wipe those away, reduce the amount of space that's covered by cars and asphalt, put a small addition on the back, dig out our basement so that that basement unit and a rear unit can be rented to long-term residents, long-term rental people. So that's sort of our plan is to really kind of not only make a lovely place for ourselves, but to return a kind of an ugly corner to something that's a little bit more true to the original structure. So Charles, take it away.
Thank you. So I'll just make some observations about the project, and then if there's any specific questions, we'd be more than happy to address them. I should first say that our office is about a block and a half away from this property, and it's actually a street I walk down at least several times a week. So I know it well, and we love Somerville, and we've been here for 20 plus years, 25 years. It is true, if you go by this site, it's a very rundown corner. The side street kind of sort of merges almost with the site. There's a lot of paving. And the house has had an unfortunate addition made to it, which was really out of keeping historically. We're removing that. And then, frankly, the plan for the site is almost directly out of the Somerville zoning manual, in that it's it gives you the little guest house at the back of the property. The interventions that we've done, we've worked really, really hard to be within the historic sensibility of the house. And obviously, we went through those hurdles to get to this point. We've had good outreach with the community. I think it's a pretty straightforward proposal for this site, which I believe is quite conforming in every way with the spirit of the zoning code.
Yeah, and we're not asking for a variance. It's just because this is a mansard townhouse that's not covered by the current code, we come before you to ask for permission to do this. Charles, do we have that slide deck to give them visual?
You're muted, Anne.
Yeah, I can
Yes, go ahead.
bring that up. Shall I go ahead and bring that up?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so. I do see 30 participants, so I can assume that the people are interested in this case. This is a
Sure.
public hearing. So why don't you do that and then I'll open up the public portion.
Okay, I've just got to share it. Hold on one second. So I'm going to walk you through the various plans. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So below grade in what currently is the basement, um, we are just fixing up that space into it actually is a two-bedroom apartment. It's snug, and it has its own access here from the outside through a door into this single unit here. Um, there's a little eating area, kitchen nook, a kitchen, back bedroom, and a front bedroom which faces on Morrison Avenue. There are windows there, but these all are within the most of the windows are captured within a window well. You can see one here in this open sunken garden, which we're going to plant, and one here at the Morrison Avenue side. This is the setback line. And then over here is the basement level of the proposed new cottage at the back of the property. If you move up to the ground level floor, um, we've carefully complied with all the um, impervious requirements for the site and pervious requirements. And it's largely planted. So there's a garden along Morrison Avenue at the corner here. This is Clifton Street here. We've planted all of this area as well. And then we've planted behind this entry to the back unit and along this edge here at the edge of the property. So in terms of the landscape, we worked hard to conform with all the planting parameters. We've included some nice trees in the planting to reestablish the sense of an urban edge within the city. This ground floor unit, then, this is a two-story unit, which is where the homeowners will live. It's a living room, an area here, which is the dining area. There's a little kitchen in the back here, and it looks out at a pervious terrace. There's a privacy screen here to provide privacy from the neighbors. And then in the back is the first level of a two-story unit at the back of the property. If you go upstairs, here is the primary unit. It's a master bedroom, a bath, a closet space here, a second bedroom here. It's quite a small bedroom, and then a third bedroom out at the corner of the house. You can see this is the edge of the mansard roof, which we're preserving on the outside of the building. Oh, and the upper floor of this small apartment at the back is just a bedroom, a little sitting area, a bathroom. So it's quite a simple plan with some simple units. And then this is a roof plan, so you can see the mansard roof remains intact. We have another small roof over the master bedroom. The air handlers are hidden in a lower roof here, so they're not really visible from the neighborhood. And then the back unit has two dormers, again, straight out of the zoning report. So those are the plans, and let me see if I can share. Excuse me, I'm having. Uh, Sorry. Uh, okay. The um, so
Okay.
this is a view of the house that exists right now. So Morris Avenue is here. This is the corner. Obviously, we're removing the fire escape. We're removing this raised deck elevation. And even though a lot of people objected, we've decided to remove this garage because we felt it really didn't fit in with the neighborhood that well. That was an attempt at humor. You can see our unit then that we're working with is through here. So that roof line is preserved. The mansard roof is preserved there. Um, this is a view from the side street. You can see there's a low open fence along the front of the property. Here's the restored mansard pavilion. Here's the new addition here, and here is the cottage at the end of the property to the right. You can see the right in this area is the open permeable terrace between those two buildings. Um, Here's another view from the corner. Here is the landscape plan that was submitted. So you can see we're adding some larger trees. Let me just slide this down. And one at the end here. And then the rest of the property has been pretty heavily planted with lower shrubbery here. And then these are garden beds for a more formal garden there. And you can see the permeable pavers here, and leading into this unit at the end here. And this is obviously the existing path up to the original building. There's not much other to tell you there. Obviously, this is all quite detailed in the drawings and shows all the compliance with the various codes. Here is just the existing view from Morris Avenue. The this fence will be replaced with a much nicer fence, and obviously all of this landscape will be enhanced. So we're really trying to clean up that edge of the property. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. You can see where this is a paved area here, which we're removing. This is the existing garage that we're removing, and then we are removing this addition that was made, which is really out of character with the building. I've shown you these plans. Any questions about this or anything I should have brought up?
I think we typically we let the public comment, and then we'll come back to discussion.
Okay, great.
So Is that okay with you, homeowners?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll now open the public comment portion of this hearing. Members of the public, if you'd like to speak on this application, please raise your hand and staff will unmute you. You'll be given 2 minutes to provide your comments, 2 minutes each. Please state your name and address for the record.
This is Kit. I'm going to allow John Golson to speak first. You should be able to unmute now.
Okay, everyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, John Golson. We live at 146, the neighboring unit. First of all, we appreciate and welcome all these additions. It's going to improve everything overall. Our main concern, which we have brought up several times in previous meetings with zoning and planning, that's never been really acknowledged and isn't really shown in these plans, is the shared property line. So we appreciate that the rear additions are directly on our property line. The main concern is the area where we have the shared deck in the back. Our deck is connected to the house. The plan is to demolish that portion of the house, which is fine, and rebuild it. But the new plans are adding a second story to that shared property line, and it is perpendicular to our rear bedroom window, which is the only source of natural light in the rear of the house, obviously because we are a row house. So now there's going to be a wall, second story height wall, 3 feet from our bedroom window, impacting that. And without having it on a setback, it's literally 3 feet from our bedroom window. If there was, a setback or anything like that, it would maybe be a little better, but it's going to drastically impact the light in our house, the view from our house, and things like that. So that's our main concern. Outside everything else, we welcome the neighbors, and they've been great with sharing things, and we've had some comments along the way, but this is just the one thing that's kind of never been addressed.
Can we have the timer? The other screen, I think. I guess would the architect or applicant like to respond right away, or we just note these comments?
I'll take a stab at it. We're there are 5 of us who are all in a townhouse set up, and all of our lots touch one another. I think the idea of a setback is something, one of the things we're trying to figure out here is to balance how to return a lot of green space to this lot. And what we've really tried to do here is wipe away a lot of built and a lot of asphalt stuff. If we pinch over, and by the way, we pursued with the city a really helpful process at the very beginning of this almost 2 years ago, and we said, please advise us on how we should what can we build here, what makes sense. And it was the city's recommendation that a 2-story addition would best meet. We'd be allowed to do that. I don't think that, and again, this is where I don't know anything about code, but I don't think there's anything that says a setback is required. We have to try to be a good neighbor on that 2nd-story addition, which is our bedroom. We originally had planned to have windows there, and we've taken them away so that wall is a solid wall, and the privacy is as good as we possibly can make it. So, Charles, is there anything on the permit side or on the code side that you want to add to that?
Well, certainly it what we have meets code, obviously, but I do want to say that I am sharing right now, and I don't know if people can see what I'm sharing.
Yes.
No.
We see the timer.
Oh, I see the rendering, the elevation.
Because we did render that just to deal with it a little bit. Should I reshare it or? at any rate, the rendering that's up right now, and I was looking to see if I had a photo of this, but at the right side of the rendering, you can see the edge of the existing roof, and this is the wall that's in the adjacent unit looking out into the back. So right now it's a structure that's, I believe, about this height, maybe to here. Um, and in response to that, we've really limited the number of windows here, just to help with a sense of privacy from the adjacent unit. The only windows we've included are these two windows which are kitchen windows, which allow some light to get in. But the I think the point is that, we've added probably that much height here. So we've really, in how we've sort of organized the project, we've really tried to minimize any sort of sense that we're bringing a big presence to the site there. We just have these two windows. And we also try to keep that extension as far towards Morris Ave as we could, to take into consideration the idea of still allowing a lot of light into the neighbor's space.
Okay.
Yeah. Just two more quick thoughts. The depth of the addition itself, while we are allowed to make it longer and still be within our lot coverage, we elected not to do that. And so the depth of the addition, I think, is 16 feet off of the back of the existing row house. And the back of the houses all face southwest. And so we do get some rather glorious light. It's not a north-facing site. So
One last question before we go back to the next public comment. But you did demo an addition, correct? This is also in.
We will be done. Yeah, thank you. There's a deeper addition that exists now. That's a one-story addition, but it's
One
something.
story, okay.
Yeah,
Which
but it's like
goes
24
beyond.
feet. Yeah,
It's
about
one
24.
story, but it goes beyond what is shown here.
That's right.
One
That's right.
story.
Like 24 feet, I think, if I remember correctly, something like that.
Thank you. I'd like to move on with the next public comment. Staff.
This is
Go ahead.
Kit. If we could just have the architect unshare the screen for the time being, just so that we can have the timer be
Absolutely.
clear. Thank you. And we've got one more hand raised currently. I'm going to allow Cassie Arnaud to talk. You should be all set to unmute.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this. And I echo John's comments about the designs and our interactions with the.
Sorry, your name and address, please.
Oh, I apologize. My name is Cassie Arnaud, and I'm at 142 Morrison Avenue, which is one of the 5 attached row houses. And I just wanted to echo what John had said. During these presentations, it really looks like this is sort of additions to a single family house that's detached. And it's hard for all of us to understand how these fairly substantial changes are going to be able to be implemented with given the fact that we're attached and these houses are very old and fairly fragile. So I think the Golsons were interested in just understanding some of the logistics as, in terms of both the designs. And then I think all of us are interested in understanding how excavating when we have shared party walls and things like that will work. And I also just want to share broadly, while these designs look beautiful in the context of what is there, we all have been living under this very strict historic regime where we have not been allowed to make even the most minor changes. So I think the other owners were quite shocked at the extensive changes that the Historic Commission approved. So I think we're trying to move to sort of wrap our heads around this new era and understanding how this will impact us as things get implemented. As I think you are about to discuss, the existing addition, while very ugly, is very low. So what they're proposing with the rear, 2.5-story addition attached to the house and the backyard cottage will be a big impact. But as somebody further away from it, it's aesthetically pleasing to me, but obviously impactful to the Golsons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other hands?
This is Kit. I see Philip, and I will unmute if you could just say your name and address for the record.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Philip, and I live across the street, kind of, sort of, at 169 Morrison Avenue. And so, at the very least, I wanted to say hello and nice to meet you to our neighbors, which I don't think I know personally. Charles, their architect, I do know, and of course, his office is around the corner, as he notes. I will concur with what Charles and I think everybody has said, which is that the garage, the existing addition building, and the way that whole site is configured is just terrible. I do hope they'll be able to figure things out with their abutters, among other things, perhaps most important, because is it true that there's a historic plaque right on your house? Can someone actually just speak to that really quickly?
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
And that whole row, I think one of your neighbors just spoke to that a moment ago, is historic in that regard.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. So I just hope you'll be able to figure that part out. I'll put one thing in there. I did not attend the Historic Commission, so I'm sorry about that piece. And this is probably a larger issue involving planning. I'm sure you guys know about the Morrison sewer separation that's coming up, a lot of streetscape plans that are attached to that. I've always thought that neck of the woods leading down to the Mix-It studio, the edge of your property being kind of the abutter to that, would be an awesome location for what's called a Woonerf. I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's a pedestrian road. It's basically a streetscape that's shared by automobiles, people, and landscaping. And my time's about to be over here, so I won't belabor this. But I recognize the last piece is that there's a big investment on your part in our neighborhood, and so I'm appreciative of that. And I do wish you well. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the architect to explain the involvement of Historic Commission. Have you gone in front of them? Are they waiting for our
No, we're through them, and it's
parallel tracks?
what we've shown you, they've approved.
Okay.
May I go back and just address one thing, and I want to share a drawing that I think would be helpful. So this is can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the existing footprint. So you can see here is the row house. It comes through here. It goes to here and comes back. We then have a slightly taller addition here that we're removing. And then obviously we're removing this piece here. But that piece, this area right here is where we are going we're tearing this out, but then we're putting our addition on to the side of the row house.
A smaller one, a smaller footprint.
A smaller addition. So that's quite built up. And I just wanted to see, unfortunately we don't, let me just go back. So you can see that existing addition that we're pulling off is right here. And so this is the neighbor's adjacent house. We're basically just building there, but then pushing all of this away and creating an open space here. So, the only part of their house that changes relative to what we're proposing is here. And there still will be, I really do think ample light in this part of their facade. So I and I'd be more than happy to meet with you at the site and just show you that. But I really, I think the benefit of getting rid of all of this and the amount of light that's going to let into the yard, um, will be very beneficial. It also, if we just take this one step further, um, so here's there is already a addition to the neighbor's house here. What we're building will be sort of, I think it's more to about there. Um, and that space on the ground will actually get more light because we have cut away this part of the addition here.
Thank
So
you. Very helpful.
yeah, I think it's a pretty good solution.
Thank you. I'd like to check with staff. Kit, is it okay that with each public comment we respond? I find that it's more useful to address the topic right away, but am I out of order? Am I supposed to just
No, I
take all
think
public
that's
comment in a row?
no, I think that's fine. If you take a break in between, I just want to highlight that typically each member of the public is given 1 2-minute segment to speak. So I just want to make sure we're refraining from responding maybe to the public commenter. That being said, I do have the abutter raising his hand, so it would be up to the board if you want to permit another 2-minute segment since they were spoken to by the applicant. But typically any discussions like that would happen outside of the board hearing.
Understood. I think I'd like to permit the abutter, but please
Sure.
don't repeat what we've already heard. If you have new information or comments, then I think it is efficient to hear it now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to allow John Golson to speak. Alvaro, could we have the timer again, please? Thank you. All right. You should have the ability to unmute once again.
Okay, great. Thanks for the opportunity to reply. I won't take up the full 2 minutes. Just to clarify, the issue is adding the second story. I'm looking right out our window now. You add a second story, it is going to block light coming into our rear bedroom window, which is 3 feet away from the shared property line. The demolition of the extended unit doesn't impact us. Light comes from above, a single story is not impacting the light on our second story and first story floor. That's the deck that we have in that area is right now a single story wall. You're going to add a second story to it. It's going to impact our light. That's it. Thanks.
Is that it? I think the architect and the owner team have expressed willingness to continue to discuss with the abutter, and I think the light is objective. You can do a light study and show exactly when it's blocking, when it's not blocking. So that's one way is to do a shadow study.
Can I make one comment on that?
Sure.
I'm going to share a screen. You can see up at the right side here. So south is the upper right corner here. North is, in this direction. So the sun is moving here. And because of the location of this at the northwestern side, it doesn't reduce. It's not like we're building south of this window. We're building to the northwest of this building. And the impact on the light it's not going to be that dramatic. So I just wanted to say that given the orientation of the building.
Thank you. Let's move on. I do have one question on the historic designation. It's just the row house, right? It's not the, it's just the shoebox. It's not the, everybody seems to have additions in the back.
Exactly.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
So, and the historic designation governs the exterior. So as long as you're keeping the exterior mansard, you are refreshing it, but keeping it as is. You can do, you can change the configuration of the interior and then add on or demo the part that's outside of this, the row house box, the historic designation. Okay, I just wanted to
Correct.
make sure we were all on the same page with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we're doing more than that. We're actually restoring some of the brackets that have rotted out and that kind of thing.
And the historic commission asked us to return the mansard to the back,
Yes,
and which we're doing. It's actually not there, but they
I saw.
to their own credit, they said, you know what, it'll look better if you have that return and that the addition, the seam of where the addition comes into the back is clear. And so that's, I think, we spent a lot of time in the rendering so that that commission could see everything and see how it all comes together. And I
Yes,
think that's
they like a clear delineation between old and new, and you were fortunate enough to own the end of it. So you
exactly.
have three
Exactly.
facades to be historic stewards of.
Precisely.
Thank you. Anyone else, staff in the public, or we could leave it open?
This is Kit. I do not see any other members of the public with their hand raised currently.
Okay, and so I think we'll leave the public portion open. Can you remind us, before we go to board member discussion, how many public meetings? There was one with a city councilor as well?
This is the third public meeting. So we had one for historic. We had another one a couple of months ago that was part of the first ZBA, and then there's this one. And so this is the third public meeting we've had.
I'm sorry, I also meant neighborhood meeting.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry, that's what
A neighborhood, okay, thank you. Let's go to board members who'd like to weigh in or ask the applicant architect team clarifying questions. Ann Fullerton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. and Mrs. Colas, I think it's a lovely update. And I appreciate the time and effort that's gone into it thus far. I do suggest, though, that you work with the Golson family to mitigate their concerns, either by producing a shadow study, asking Mr. Rose's office to produce a shadow study, or in some other way. I think that they're going to be your neighbors longer than you're going to know any of us, and you're going to be sharing walls with them. And typically, for us to approve substantial changes like this, we like the neighbors to all be on board with the goals of the change. And since they're your immediate abutter, and they seem to have a concern that they feel is significant to them, I would suggest that you work with them to try to bring them along with whether or not the light will impact them, or just ease their minds in some way.
Happy to do a light study. Absolutely.
Was that it, Ann Fullerton? Okay. Brian Cook, see your hand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to follow up on Member Fullerton's suggestion, Kit, is it permissible for us to add a condition to the special permit that refers to either cooperation with the abutting neighbor or the production of a shadow study, if we think that's appropriate as a condition?
I think that you can condition a shadow study, but I just worry that um, cooperation with neighbors may be too vague for a condition. But I think if you were asking them to produce and submit a shadow study to planning staff, that would be fine.
Thank you.
Olivia Mulbade, any questions for the team from you?
Madam Chair, I don't have any questions on this one that haven't already been answered. Thank you.
Okay. I do have one. I'm looking at the packet, which is a little different from what you're showing us. Plans and elevations, page 8. Did you say that you moved the mechanical equipment? Because I'm seeing it in the drawings that I have. It's on top of your new two-story addition.
Yeah, no, we moved it. It's in response to the Golson's concern about looking at ugly mini splits, which we all have that concern. It was originally on that addition, and it has been moved to the seam, which is this 3-foot seam that's depressed in between the two roofs, and it'll be clad in some kind of cedar to
Okay.
yeah. So
I was going to ask for updated drawings, but I do see that it's your A2.13 does show it where it should be, right? It's just the rendering is probably older, and the record drawings are what's correct. So we don't need to ask for an update.
and by the way, that was not that you may care about this level of minutia, but that was a concern that the Golsons raised when we were in the historic commission session, and so we, it was made as a condition for that approval, and so that's why we, of course, moved it. And it's a better place for it to be. If we could put it on the ground and still meet all of the zoning restrictions, we would put them on the ground, but we just can't find anywhere else to stick them.
Anything else from the board? Yes, Ann Fullerton.
Within that line of questioning, the drawings show what looks like a single window over the sink of the primary unit, but the elevations show what looks like a pair of windows. Can you confirm which is accurate?
It's a pair of windows.
Okay. And has your neighbor seen the pair of windows? Had the opportunity in public meetings to see the pair of windows?
In the second public meeting, we had some of the same discussion, and so we commissioned a rendering of the back of the building and the side of the building, so that everyone could see how does it work when it's from everyone's driveways, in essence, in the back. And so those were in addition to, we published them in a group email to everyone some months ago and asked for comments. Didn't get anything back from anyone, but we're trying to communicate well.
Thank you for the answer.
Okay. So just for the last time, anybody in the public that has not spoken yet? Kit, do you see any hands?
I do not see the hand of anyone who
Okay.
has not spoken.
So I appreciate the thorough presentation, discussions. And again, it's worth saying that this is in front of us because it's for a special permit. You're not asking for hardship variance, and it dimensionally complies with everything in the Somerville zoning ordinance. No dimensional variations from setbacks are being requested. So I don't have any issue. Is the board ready to vote? Thumbs up. Brian Cook, is that you'd like to speak, or thumbs up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to add that I'm ready, and I think that we could, for efficiency's sake, incorporate the staff memo in terms of the findings on the specific elements of the special permit requirements. If there's more that we need to add to that language in the staff memo, then we would have to contribute that. But I don't find there a necessity. And although I suggested the possibility of a shadow study condition, I don't really think that's necessary either.
Yes, I would. Well, what do you think, Ann Fullerton? I don't think it's a condition. We would like you to continue to have open dialogue with your neighbors, right? Um, it's legal. That's what we're here to determine. But as to the impact on the neighbors, that can be more subjective. But you are increasing. It's 3 units you will have, correct?
That's correct.
And
Yes.
your own unit and then the backyard cottage. So you are increasing housing. And what I appreciate most is actually the changing of the site from an asphalt wasteland to pervious planted surface. I think that's one lot at a time, changing our asphalt to the city. One can dream.
Right. No, yeah. Yep.
So I feel like it really maximizes the green space in this little lot. So that's appreciated. So I'm ready to vote as well. Okay, so will you make a motion, clerk?
I'd be happy to, Madam Chair. I do want to note really quickly, I support conditioning the shadow study. I have
Okay.
full faith that the Colosis would deliver it anyway, but I think that it helps respond to an abutter's comment.
Sure. Absolutely.
In the matter of 148 Morrison Ave, ZP 25-000089, I make a motion to approve the special permit based on the staff memo findings and discussion by the board. We also would like to include a condition that a shadow study is submitted to the planning team and also shared with neighbors.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call for the vote. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Olivia Mobaid,
Aye.
and myself, Ann Brockelman, aye. That's 4 unanimous. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may we have a 5-minute relief break?
Yes. I think the clerk has to make the motion.
Yep. I make a motion for a brief recess until 7:40 p.m.
Second.
Aye.
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 4 ayes. Thank you. See you in a bit. You have everyone? 7:40. Kit?
Yep, looks like everyone is back.
Do I call to order to resume the meeting, open the meeting? What do I do, Kit?
Yes, just note for the record that what time the meeting was resumed.
For the record, we're resuming the meeting at 7:41. This is Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals, February 18 meeting. And we have our third and last case. Ann Fullerton, would the clerk like to open the meeting?
Sure. I hereby open the case of 307-309 Highland Avenue, ZP 25-000110. Adam Dash, representing Silva Realty 9 LLC, seeks a hardship variance for principal entrance orientation of an existing detached house in a neighborhood residence, i.e. NR zoning district.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Dash. Is your team here, just you tonight? Are we waiting for people?
No, in the attendees list is Mark Silva, who's the client, and Tanya Carrier, who's the architect, if we could promote them, and Tanya needs to share her screen. In the meantime, I'm Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street in Somerville, attorney for Silva Realty 9 LLC, who's the owner and applicant here. Mark Silva is here from Silva Realty 9, as is Tanya Carrier of KDI Architects, who will be sharing the slides, as I think she's doing right now. The applicant is seeking a hardship variance for the principal entrance orientation of an existing detached house in the NR zoning district. Tanya, can you go to the second slide once you get it situated? There we go. The house is not moving, but there's a proposed lot split that's a separate application that would cause the principal entrance to the remaining existing house to no longer be oriented towards the front lot line. This is really a technical matter that's requiring a variance. I think the next slide, Tanya, might be better. It shows the existing condition. Yeah, so what we have here is this is an unusual situation. It is one large lot with two principal structures and one accessory garage at the corner of Highland Avenue and Cherry Street. This condition is not shared by others in the neighborhood. It is a kind of an odd one. So you can see the house in the far left back there along Cherry Street is the one that we're talking about. You can see how it's currently facing Highland Avenue because this is one lot. Can we go to the next slide, Tanya? So again, this is not on for tonight, but we have a separate application to split this into four lots, four zoning compliant lots. In doing so, the house that's in the upper left, which would be on what's called lot 1 at that point, will no longer be facing a thoroughfare technically because those lots 2 and 3 below it will be created. The house on the lot still abuts a thoroughfare. It's on Cherry Street, but its front door will not face Cherry Street because the house isn't moving. The front door is still going to face Highland Avenue, but there will be two lots between it and the house. So therefore, even though the house on lot 1 isn't moving, the lot split makes the front door orientation technically not facing a front lot line because that's no longer a front lot line once the lot split happens. There's substantial hardship here because this is a special circumstance because the only way for the house on that lot 1 to comply would be to evict the tenants, demolish the house, and build a new structure that faces Cherry Street, and then we wouldn't need a variance at all. But that is not what the applicant wants to do. Evicting the tenants and demolishing the building doesn't further the goals of the zoning ordinance or the Summer Vision strategic plan. Tanya, did you want to go through some things briefly?
Sure. You covered most of it, but I'll go through a couple slides. Tanya Carrier from Culsa Design. Here's just a color view to show you a little bit clearer. So our existing lot, as Adam mentioned, is very unique in that it contains two principal structures, which is not permitted in the NR zone. So one of the goals that this lot split will achieve is having one principal structure on each lot, fully zoning compliant, except for this one issue. And here you can see the unit or the building we're talking about today, the way the building is laid out makes a renovation just to move the door to the front quite unfeasible without basically a full redo of the building. So the front has two units that are stacked, and the rear has a unit separate, so that it has no access to the front area. And each of these areas of the building have their own front door here, set back quite far from Highland Ave, much more than the allowed maximum setback currently. Um, so those doors we would propose to remain as is. And here's a nice actual picture showing those doors, how they could remain here, but with a lot split line coming in. And just one other slide. So in doing this, it would actually correct several nonconformities with both lots, with just adding this one new nonconformity. We'd correct the two building issue, we'd correct setback issues, maximums, facade build out issues, and other zoning items. So this is just showing the proposed what we intend to do possibly in the future. Two new lots here, adding housing, fully zoning compliant, and then potentially a backyard cottage. We'd be removing the driveway access, so you'd have a nice clear entrance into the side of the building for this lot. So I think that's all I'll say unless there are questions.
Well, thank you, Tanya. Let me just wrap up real quick before we get into that, I guess. There's no substantial detriment in granting the variance, which would allow the property to be brought more into zoning compliance, as Tanya described, by eliminating the two large setback and eliminating the two principal structures on one lot, by splitting the lots and by adding much needed housing on these lots 2 and 3, and a backyard cottage on lot 1, as you see in the upper right corner. We're not here about the new houses. Those aren't designed yet. We're here just about the door orientation on the existing building. The variance would also avoid the demolition of that existing structure and disruption that would cause and the eviction of the tenants. As stated in the staff memo, the granting of the requested hardship variance would not cause substantial detriment or substantially derogate from the intent and purpose of the NR district. It would support the broader intent of the Somerville zoning ordinance and help to preserve and enhance the existing character of Somerville's traditional housing and respect the existing built form and development patterns. And therefore, the applicant requests that the hardship variance for principal entrance orientation be granted.
Thank you. Mr. Dash, before you continue, Ann Fullerton has had her hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Dash, so just so I understand clearly, does the address change to a Cherry Street address, but the functioning front doors remain where they are?
I think the address would be an engineering department question at the building permit stage. Oftentimes when you're adding new units, they will create a new address because they want the 911 system to work. Sometimes the postal service will have its demands about the address. That's not really up to the applicant. That's sort of something the engineering department sort of tells us. We have this whole, especially an issue when you clear cut a whole site like at the old Star Market, where we had a whole big conversation with a lot of people about what are these addresses of these new buildings. Here, I mean, these two buildings are remaining. We're just infilling. I don't know what the addresses will be, but there will be frontage. We're not creating a nonconformity about frontage, just to be clear. The building will still front onto Cherry Street. The problem is that the door will not be facing Cherry Street because the door is where the door is today. It isn't changing.
I appreciate the clarity. Thank you.
No problem. It's a little odd. This is such a weird, I've never seen this, to be honest with you, this situation. So it is an odd one. Tanya, you can probably take that off the screen so everyone can see each other.
Yeah. Let me just move to the public portion. Okay, so I'll open the public comment portion of this hearing. Kit, do you see any hands?
This is Kit. I see one hand. Lexi, do you mind sharing the timer?
So if you'd like to speak, please Staff will unmute you. Yes, you'll be given 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Lexi. I'm going to allow J.O. to speak.
Hi, my name is Audrey Orenstein. I live at 315 Highland across the street. I'm wondering about the parking spots that are where the new front door is going to go, if they're going to be removed or if they're going to be pushed out closer to 315. And the reason I ask is because it's already very challenging to navigate getting into our parking spots behind our apartment because of how close it is in.
I think it's a little bit outside of the purview of what we're discussing today, but Mr. Dash, would you like to? Do you know anything about the parking situation or the property owner maybe?
Tanya might have a better idea about that.
Sure. Yeah, we're not actually adding new front doors or moving them, so it would not affect parking in any way. The doors and everything would remain as is, except for adding basically a lot line in the future should this get approved. So nothing on the actual street parking, if you're talking about, would change. We're actually closing in a curb cut. It's not a curb cut, but there is a driveway. There's no actual curb on that street, but that we'd be removing. So if anything, we'd be making it slightly better.
Does that answer your question?
I think so. So there's not actually going to be a door that opens. It's just
Yeah, the doors to the house, what we're here to ask is that they remain exactly where they are without any renovation.
okay, got it.
Yeah, if we weren't to come to this meeting, we'd have to basically move the door to the front, and then we'd have that issue because the front wall is exactly on the property line, so we can't fit a porch, like you're saying.
Right. Okay, thank you for
yeah.
explaining that to me.
No problem.
Any other hands?
I don't see any other hands at the moment. Again, if you'd like to speak, just raise your hand. You'll be given 2 minutes.
Give everyone a minute. Okay, let's move to board discussion then. Anyone else or besides Ann Fullerton have questions for the applicant team? Okay, seeing none, I have one just to confirm again. Nothing is physically changing. I
On
think
on that house we're discussing, Madam Chair, correct, that the irony is we are seeking relief to keep it the same. That's the weird part of this.
yes, you're seeking relief to be allowed to be non-compliant.
Because the house when we do the lot split, which is all going to be compliant, it's just going to throw that lot line will no longer be a front where the door faces, it'll be a side.
Yes, so I think my question is more procedural because the lot isn't split yet. So
that application is pending this happening. So that application is being held until because if the variance isn't allowed or is allowed, that changes possibly what we do. But that application has been filed, it just hasn't been heard. Or dealt with, I should say, by planning.
Okay, so we say that if we went through and granted the hardship variance, it would be for the future lot split of this house fronting Cherry Street is allowed to not have its principal entrance on Cherry Street.
Right. It would be so that the existing house's front door would not would be allowed to not face Cherry Street,
Yes.
which is what the situation is today. But with the lot split, that application for the variance, we were told this application could be filed at the same time, which they were, but the variance has to be heard first before the lot split can be dealt with.
Okay.
So the lot split application is waiting for a decision from you. Because obviously, if you won't let us do this, then that throws the lot split off.
If we won't let you do nothing as in not move the front door.
We would probably end up I'd have to talk to the client, but I think the fallback would be to tear the house down and build a house that then faces Cherry Street with a front door and pull it back so the porch could be put there like Tanya described. That would we wouldn't need a variance at all. But then of course you'd have to evict the tenants and tear the house down, and that's kind of, we don't want to do that, and there's no real gain to anybody in doing that. So it seems like this is a technical relief, honestly, that just saves a lot of heartache for a lot of people. But
I understand, but in the future, if they want to punch an opening on Cherry Street, they could.
Doesn't sound like that is like what Tanya was saying. That's quite that simple to do because of the house as it is.
Because of the interior.
The front door or the front wall is exactly on the lot line, so, and the first floor is up higher than grade, so we'd have to have a whole interior lobby with steps, so it would be all new
You
structure.
couldn't enter. I
Yeah.
see. Okay. Should we go through the hardship criteria steps? How does everyone feel?
I can take a first shot at them.
Thank you, Ann Fullerton.
So regarding special circumstances existing relating to soil condition, shape, or topography of the parcel, the unusual condition is that it's a multi-building parcel and that the existing house in question is set at the back of the parcel with its front door facing Highland Ave, not facing the closest street. Literal enforcement of the provision of the ordinance for the district where the subject land or structure is located would involve substantial hardship, financial otherwise. I think it's pretty clear that they are not able to add a front door physically without rebuilding a substantial part of the structure. A front door physically facing Cherry Street, rather, without substantially altering the structure, if not completely rebuilding it. And then 3, desirable relief could be granted without causing substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating the intent and purpose of the NR district. I think that it is a unique condition. I think as long as engineering ultimately helps with the wayfinding aspect, it does not create a public realm issue.
Thank you. Anyone have anything to add? Board members? Okay, are we ready to vote? Okay, I see nods. Make a motion, please.
In the matter of 307-309 Highland Ave, case number ZP 25-000110, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the hardship variance being sought.
Second.
Based on discussion.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Olivia Mobaid. Roll call vote. Ann Fullerton.
Yay.
Olivia Mobaid.
Yay.
Brian Cook.
Yay.
Myself, I, Ann Brockelman. That's all 4 of us. The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the board. Have a good evening. And thank you, Mr. Cook, for the break.
Good night.
Good night.
Kit, do we have anything else? Should we adjourn?
There was no other business. Just next meeting is March 4th.
Okay, motion to adjourn, please.
Yep. I make a motion to adjourn the zoning board of appeals meeting for the night of February 18th, 2026.
Second.
Seconded by Brian Cook. Roll call. Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Olivia Mobaid,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
and me, Ann Brockelman, aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned tonight.
Thank you, Acting Madam Chair
Thank you, Madam
and
Chair.
Acting Clerk. Whew.
Your turn next, Brian.
That's
Oh,
right.
really? Okay, I guess.
Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good
and
night.
thanks for your help, Kit.
Have a good night.
Okay.